Have you ever walked out to the coop on a frozen morning, lifted the lid, and found the nest empty again? You blame the cold, so you run a heat lamp all night. But the cold was never why your hens stopped. And that lamp is what quietly burns coops to the ground every winter. Here is the old way. For years now, most of us have been fighting the wrong enemy, and it has cost us dearly. So long as you believe it is the cold, you will keep buying lamps, keep paying the power company through the darkest months, keep a flame burning over the roost while you sleep, and still, you will lift that lid to an empty nest. And I understand why. To the eye, everything points to the cold. The hens huddle close. The water freezes hard in the pail. The laying falls away just as the first frost takes hold. It seems plain enough. But a hen does not lay by the thermometer. She lays by the light. Deep within her, a small gland reads one thing only: the length of the day. Through the long days of summer, 14 hours of light, 16. The nest stays full. As the days draw down to 9, her body makes a quiet decision. This is no season to raise chicks. The cold did not close the nest. The dark did. So how did the old Chinese farmers, with no lamp, no wire, no flame at all, keep their hens laying right through the deep of winter? Because they carried something we have since let slip. Knowledge passed down, mother to daughter, through the generations. They knew the short days only begin the slowing. It is the cold, the damp, the thin winter feed, the frozen pail, every hardship we let pile on top that finish it. They could not lengthen the day, so they did the wiser thing. They took away every other reason a hen gives up. Not with a flame, not with a lamp burning over her head while she slept. One quiet thing at a time. Let me show you. Now the lamp gives her heat. But heat was never what she lacked, light was. And the first way to win her more of it asks nothing of you but a compass and a free afternoon. Get it wrong, and every short day grows shorter still inside that coop. The little light she needs, never reaching her at all. Most of us set the coop down wherever it happened to fit, beside the shed, behind the barn, facing the yard, so it was an easy walk in the morning. Convenient for us, and blind to the sun. So turn it to face south. In winter, the sun rides low across the southern sky the whole day long. A coop with its windows to the south drinks that light in from first light to last, and the warmth that travels with it. The old country measure was to give over a third of that south wall to glass. Set the roost where the morning light falls across it, and keep the coop's solid back to the north, so the cold wind breaks upon the wall instead of pouring through your birds. Go and stand in it on a clear afternoon in December. You will see a bar of pale gold lying across the floor, and the hens settled down into it, shifting along as it travels, following the light like the slow hand of a clock. You have not added a single watt. You have simply stopped throwing the daylight away. The next sounds, at first, like nothing but neglect. Through the whole of winter, the old farmers never once cleaned out the coop. Do that carelessly, and you will choke your birds on the fumes of their own bedding. But do it the old way, and that floor becomes a quiet furnace that burns no fuel at all. No flame anywhere near it. Before I show you how, I have set this whole winter plan down on a single page, one you can keep by the coop door. Which way to face it, how to build that floor, and the dusk feeding I am coming to. It costs nothing, and you will find it linked just below. Anyway, never to clean the coop. It sounds like the surest road to a sick flock. And for most of the year, it would be. But in the cold months, something else takes hold. Lay down a deep bed, begin with 6 inches of pine shavings, then add dried leaves and chopped straw as the winter deepens. And then you simply stop hauling it out. You let the droppings and the bedding break down in place, right there beneath their feet. As it composts, it gives off a steady, gentle heat, enough to lift the whole coop by some 10 degrees on the bitterest night. No flame, no wire, no risk. The hens turn it for you with every scratch. And come spring, you carry out a barrow of crumbling black earth for the garden. Kneel down on a cold morning and press your palm into that bedding. You will feel it, a faint, living warmth rising up to meet your hand, and the smell of an old forest floor rather than a barn. That is the heat, doing its quiet work. There is one rule that keeps this safe. Keep the air moving, up high. A composting floor breathes out moisture, and trapped damp will harm a hen in winter far sooner than the cold ever could. So leave your vents open near the roofline. And should you ever catch the sharp scent of ammonia, that is the floor itself asking you for dry bedding and a little more air. Now she has her light, and she has her warmth. But the laying of an egg is the most costly thing a hen's body will do, and a cold hen spends her strength simply staying alive. Feed her, just as you did in summer, and you will still find that nest half empty. You might suppose the answer is simply more. It is not. More of the same only fattens her, and a heavy hen lays less, not more. It comes in 2 parts. First, you keep her built for the work. Her everyday feed kept rich in protein. Crushed oyster shell always within her reach, for if you do not give her the shell, she will draw it from her own bones. And then the old winter additions the old yards always kept. Sprouted grain, a little fermented feed, the very thing I showed you last time, and true protein from the kitchen. And second, the small change. At dusk, just before they climb to the roost, scatter a handful of cracked corn across the floor, not as a meal, as a coal for the night. As she works through it in the small, dark hours, her own body throws off its heat while she sleeps, so that, come morning, she may spend her strength on the egg and not on shivering. Cast it into that deep litter floor, and she will turn the bedding for you as she hunts each kernel out. One small act, doing 2 kinds of work at once. And there is one last reason a hen gives up, the simplest of all, and the one most keepers forget entirely. A hen will forgive you a cold night. She will not forgive you a frozen pail. By mid-morning, that water is turned to ice, and she simply goes without. And a hen who cannot drink will not lay, no matter how warm her coop or how full her feeder. We forget it because water seems the simplest thing of all, but an egg is mostly water, and a hen drinks the way she does everything, in small sips, all through the day. Freeze her water by 10 in the morning, and you have taken away most of her day's drinking before you have even noticed. And here, too, the old way needs no cord. Trade that thin metal fount for a wide, deep tub of black rubber, and set it where the low sun can reach it. The dark rubber gathers what warmth the sun gives, and the greater body of water holds its heat far longer than a little ring of metal ever could. The same reason the old stock tanks stayed open long after the puddles had frozen hard. Carry out lukewarm water in the morning, never scalding. She will not drink it hot. And again at midday, if the cold sits deep. And when ice does form, you bend that rubber tub and knock it free. No thawing, no fuss. You will hear of tricks, a capful of salt, a floating ball, a splash of vinegar. Save your faith for the cold that matters. In a true freeze, none of them hold. What holds is a dark, deep vessel, the sun upon its back, and your own 2 hands twice a day. Now look back at all we never once reached for. No lamp, no flame, no cord run out across the snow to a cold and waiting coop. The old farmers did not force the hen to battle the season. They made the season gentler to bear, and then let her do what she was always able to do. And there is a deep wisdom in that. A flock kept soft by a warm lamp is a flock that suffers the night the power fails. And in the dead of winter, it fails someone every year. The old way asks for no power at all, and so it can never be taken from you. Do this, and your nest will not sit empty come January. Not because you have beaten the winter, but because at last you have stopped fighting it. That is the old Chinese way, not some secret ingredient, a way of seeing. We leaned hard on that living floor to keep your hens warm without a single flame. But there is one thing well-meaning keepers do, hoping to help, that quietly undoes all of it. It frostbites combs in a coop that is otherwise perfect, and nearly everyone has it backwards. Next time, I will show you exactly how the old farmers moved the air through a winter coop. The very difference between a flock that comes through whole and one that loses its combs at 20 below, and not a single watt to do it. It is waiting for you, right here.